Here we go live. Let me share my screen. So welcome everyone to Layer 5's website meeting. Today is March of 13th. And if you haven't written your name in this attendees list, make sure you add your name. I'm sharing the link of meeting minutes again in chat. And if you have any item related to websites, front-end, UX or UI or design, feel free to add this over here. So we'll definitely be discussing and taking your feedback. And if you don't have access to this particular meeting minutes that I've shared in chat, make sure you fill up this form that's on layer5.io/newcomers. I'll also share the link of this in chat. So with that, let's start today's meeting, and we'll be following our weekly Layer 5 tradition to welcome newcomers on every call. So if you are a newcomer to the community and joining this call for the first time, feel free to unmute yourself and give a quick introduction. And if you have webcams, feel free to turn them on. So I see a couple of new names in the chat, in the participants list. So Akash would like to, it's Ashish. Hey, Ashish would like to introduce yourself. Cool. I think Ashish is having some kind of audio issues. So we'll move to Vasu or Vikas. So anyone would like to introduce?
Hello everyone, my name is Vikas. I have just started contributing to Meshery, and I'm currently working on a search bar issue on docs page, and that's it. And this is not my first call. I have been to a couple of dev calls. Thank you, thank you.
Thanks, Vikas, for your introduction, and thank you for adding your pull request in the meeting minutes. So next up we have Ashish. So hi Ashish, would like to introduce. Let's have your introduction. And if you have any kind of issues with your audio, feel free to introduce yourself in chat. So next, I don't think Ashish is with us. So Soham Banerjee, is this your first time joining this call?
Hello everyone. So no, this is not my first time joining this call. I've joined this call somewhere around 2 to 3 times back. So yeah.
Oh, cool. No worries. Nice to have you. So next up we have Samyans or Senali.
Hello, I'm Senali. This is my first time in call. I'm looking forward to contribute more and collaborate with all.
Nice to have you, Senali. If you would like to introduce more, like tell us a bit about your background, like which school or year you are in.
Yeah, I'm from Sri Lanka, and I'm currently doing my degree in University of Colombo.
Yeah, that's great. Nice to have you, Senali, on the call. So if I'm missing anyone, like feel free to interrupt me. I'll pause for 5 seconds and you can introduce yourself.
Hi.
Hi, Devashish.
My name is Ikezi Uzochukwu. I'm a backend developer, and this is my first time joining the Zoom call.
That's great. Welcome to the call, Zoo.
Thank you.
So I don't think I'm missing anyone, but still, if I missed anyone, feel free to interrupt me in between the call. So I'll quickly share the meeting minutes again in chat. Make sure you write your full name in the meeting minutes. And like if you haven't added your last name in the Zoom, please do that. So with that, let's start with today's topic. So first up on the list, we have Shivam with MeshMap page updates. So hi Shivam, would you like to share your screen? Let's discuss your MeshMap page updates.
Is my screen visible?
Yep, it is.
Yeah, so we were working on designing new MeshMap pages for the Layer 5 website. And so here we have the almost final design for the MeshMap designer page. Actually, to brief about a little bit, we had to work on 3 pages: the MeshMap designer, visualizer, and the collaboration page. So currently, we have the MeshMap designer page has been completed mostly. Some folks are working on it as of now to give it some final touches, and so this is what we have achieved so far. So here we have the something that will show how the designer works and the integration that features all the integrations. And here are some features. Some issues were there with this, and those have been solved. And so another section will be added here that will be discussed by Avi after a few minutes. And yeah, so this is basically the MeshMap page. And so if anyone is confused, if anyone has not used MeshMap, they can sign up for MeshMap on the Layer 5 MeshMap website. And this is an image of a cytoscape. And currently we have the static image, but we are trying to implement a dynamic cytoscape here. And it was almost implemented, but there's some styling left to it. So we'll be following with that. And yes, so currently this is where the designer page stands. If anyone has any suggestions regarding something that something could be added, please move forward, move ahead with your feedback. It is very welcome.
Yeah, the page looks good. So Shivam, if you slowly move down at each particular section of your site, and let's take feedback. So yeah, this part looks good. So like if you continue moving down, and like if anyone has feedback, feel free to interrupt and like provide your feedback to Shivam. So I'll like randomly pick one. So Colby, what are your thoughts on this page? This looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, I think it looks great. Yeah, I really don't have any problem with it.
Yeah, something we could add more.
I think that it looks pretty well filled out to me.
Yeah, cool. So Shivam is asking for help with adding a cytoscape canvas. It will be a live interaction of cytoscape canvas with styling and interactive nodes. So if anyone is familiar with cytoscape, cytoscape is a basically graph manipulation library that will be shown over here. So if anyone is familiar with it, feel free to signal now in chat or in website channel. So Shivam will be sharing the link of cytoscape library in chat.
And if someone has any design considerations for any of the pages, you can sign up for the Layer 5 Figma files, and you can add your designs there. That will be really helpful as well, because we also need designs for the visualize page. Yeah, right here. this is really empty and it is asking for anyone to jump in and contribute their UX skills. So in UX skills, so yeah, that will be really helpful. And moving forward, I've also designed this collaboration page. So here, how it would be. This is what I've achieved so far.
Yeah. So Shivam, how are we tending to link um, each of these collaboration design and visualize page?
So currently, what we are trying to think about is like from the main MeshMap page on the Layer 5 website, we can add the links here. Like maybe this could be a clickable link, or maybe we could add an arrow over here that indicates learn more section, and so that way we can redirect users to that page.
Yeah, that's cool. So, and if you also go to Figma and make a call for volunteers, like if you have any kind of UX or design people on the call that we need particular section of designer, collaborator, and like other stuff that you, I think, also opened up issues.
Yes, absolutely. I've also opened up GitHub issues that uh, that indicate what type of UIs we require according to the feature mentioned there. So if you have any experience with this, you can surely jump in and add your designs here.
Cool. So if you are a design person and like UX, UI, and Figma is your stuff, feel free to signal now in chat or on website channel. We'll get you fill up with the stuff. So any more feedback for Shivam before we move to next item? That's by Ayush. Lee, are you saying something? We can't hear you.
Does the animation play on reverse?
Which one?
All of them.
On this collaboration page?
Yeah.
Yeah, not on this one. They don't play right now.
Because what?
On this page, you don't play. On the designer page, they play on reverse, not on this one.
Okay. Cool. Is that going to change or?
Yes, we can certainly change that.
Okay, cool. So thank you for your update, Shivam. So let's move to next item. That's by Ayush. So Ayush would like to share your updates.
So yeah, assuming my screen is now visible, uh, just a minute. Yeah, so this issue is from previous week or meeting minutes, but I was not able to like describe it properly, so I'm describing it again. It was related to the color contrast Lighthouse audit for the homepage. So like for the homepage, there are many texts like you can see this developer or these titles like MeshMap, Meshery, and this specific green color basically it does not has enough contrast against this white background to pass the Lighthouse contrast test, and same for this white text inside the button. So we had two options for this. Either we could have changed this green color to something else, or the other thing which I have done here is that I have introduced a gradient background. So like for this title, the background it's white, but there's also if I just inspect it, yeah. So there's also a gradient. So there's also a gradient of white color introduced in this. So by using this sort of trick, this passes the Lighthouse contrast test, and we don't have to like change anything UI. And this same change I have done across all the buttons and across all the text. Like for example, this stay meshy or inside the subscribe button. And this PR also like changes the text inside this button. So like this, many of the text inside the yellow button was previously white, which also failed the contrast test. So I have normalized all the buttons. Like I have normalized all the buttons to be same. So like all the yellow buttons have black text inside them, and they now have a box shadow also, like which many were missing previously. Coming to the next item. So like previously, we have Lighthouse just running on 5 different pages. And so for those 5 pages, almost all the tests are now passing, except these two, which are unused CSS rules and unused JavaScript rules. So other people were working on this test previously, but they unassigned themselves, and now I'm working on this new CSS rules. So if anyone is willing to help me with this new JavaScript test, then this issue is open for the taking. Um, this issue, these issues are a little bit complex, so they will take more time to solve. But the other issues, other Lighthouse issues are fixed for the original 5 pages on which the Lighthouse audit were in. And so now I have opened up here to basically enable Lighthouse CI audit on more pages, which are Meshery, MeshMap, Community, and Learn. And so like corresponding to these pages, we are getting now. Yeah, so corresponding to like for these audit on these pages, we are now getting like many more errors, and so I will try on fixing them in the coming days. I have opened some PR regarding these pages and regarding these issues on new pages, but there are many more to be made. And one more thing I wanted to point out is that Ac- across layer 5 website, we uses many images. Like for example, this thumbnail image for the MeshMap video that we use, it's basically in a .png format. And so .png format is not, it should ideally be in a format like .webp, which is more data efficient and easy to load. So we have to change these all formats, these all images which are currently not in .jpg or .png to .webp format. So I was asking like, uh, could I just convert these images using an online .png to webp editor and just replace it here? Will that be a good idea?
Yep. Comments, feedback for Ayush's question.
I mean, I'll explain it more. I think I was not able to properly explain it. So there are many images across the Layer 5 website. So like, for example, this thumbnail image, this is a thumbnail image. This is currently stored in a .png format. And .png format is not, it takes, basically it takes a lot more time to load, and it also takes a lot more data. And ideally all the images should be in a .webp format, which basically increases the performance of the website. So I was thinking if I could just use an online .png to .webp sort of editor and just replace all these images across the code base.
Yeah, I think there are some plugins which can directly convert these files into WebP format. I might have to check the name of it. I think this was the one. So it can automatically just convert at build time your all the images which you are using.
Okay, so like using a plugin will be more efficient than basically replacing the whole image.
No, essentially, they are both doing the same thing, taking the image and converting it into a WebP format. But I think using a plugin, you can just ensure that there are no mistakes, even if someone else uses another image.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
I've linked in the chat if you can see in the Zoom.
Could you share this in the Slack?
Yeah, he did. He shared it in the Zoom chat.
Okay,
And
okay,
so, yeah,
thanks.
Slack would be work as well. Speaking of the Zoom chat, it's nice to have Ju on today. Ju. If you don't mind though, would you put your last name into the Zoom chat? That'd be nice. Yeah, yes, it makes sense to convert to either like JPEG 2000 or web, or WebP, preferably WebP. I guess I had thought that, well, like that image specifically had been converted, but if it hasn't, yes, please do. And yes, an online converter will work. Even better is Udit's suggestion about the use of a plugin. We do use static image a fair bit across the site. I don't know about the Gatsby image plugin. If Nikhil Lada were here, he would have a little more insight. Yeah, the automatic conversion should be fine. The only thing about converting images is just identifying that line between what is still a quality image visually and something that's as small as you can get it, while still retaining visual quality. So hopefully.
Thanks, I will look into this.
So also, Ayush had made a call for a couple of volunteers that wanted to help work through some of these failing checks. So Lighthouse is a tool that is being used to, well, inspect the performance of the site, inspect the accessibility of the site, inspect some webmaster best practices, if you will. Did anyone want to take him up on that offer? If you're on this call and you generally fall into three camps of why you're here. It's either often as a user of the site or any of the sites or Meshry UI. Those are generally the topics of this call. And if you use the sites and have feedback, please don't hesitate with the feedback. Please be as critical as possible. So one as a user, two as maybe a developer to work on changes, and three as like a standard by, just sort of a fly on the wall here to enjoy the community, share a little bit, maybe absorb as we go. If you're here for either of the first two reasons, for all three reasons, you're considered a contributor. Like there's many different ways to contribute. Anyway, Ayush is calling for additional contributors. So if you're here and you want to get your hands dirty, but you don't have your hands on something, I've had a couple of people say they have a hard time getting a hold of an issue. And on one hand, I kind of get it because the issues go fairly quick. As soon as they're opened, they generally get picked up on. But that's not for lack of there being many, many issues to work through. So it gives me a chuckle when people say that there's like, they can't get an issue. It's like, well, my goodness, there's so many issues. Here's one, here's 20. Here you go. Does anybody want to participate with Ayush?
Yep, I can have a look at this, I guess.
So nice. Oh, great. Okay. Ayush,
I'll just have a look at this issue and I'll let you know. I'm just commenting on this issue so that we can keep track of it.
Nice.
Yeah,
thank you. Ayush, you had said that you've recently created a couple of issues, but that there were a number of other failing tests, or there will be more of those quite quickly. Do you need assistance in getting new issues created?
No, I can create the issues. It's not I can get the issues.
Okay. All right. All right.
Cool. Any other items from you, Ayush?
No, that's it for me. Thanks.
Thank you for your update, Ayush. Moving next item, that's by Avi on MeshMap feature Popout card and Carousel. Avi, are you
Uh,
sharing your screen?
yes, I am. I hope it is visible now.
Yep.
Yes, so the issue I'm currently working on is this one. So basically, what it suggests is on the current MeshMap design page, which is currently in uh, what uh, it is the building now. So I am. What Shivam has suggested is we can have uh, pop out card type carousel. Like currently it is like this one. So to capture all the features of MeshMap, we have a drop down carousel like this one. But what Shivam has proposed is this kind of proposal. Like we can have a deck of cards and a user can click on anyone and can see the features like one by one. So yeah, I have implemented quite uh, like a prototype of it, and this is how it looks like. So I have also raised a PR for this, which is in currently draft state. Uh, Now the things that needs to be done are currently this on clicking this card, it just translate to minus 500 pixels, which is not a good solution for this. So what we have to do is dynamically put this card to center after a user clicks on it. Uh, then uh, also if anyone can have any feedback or can help in have any ideas, so they can share. So first task that is to be done is this one. Then what Lee also suggested, and a very critical feature will be expanding the card's width according to the content it has. So currently it is just I guess 300 pixels hard-coded value of each card, the width and height. But what we can do is we can change it dynamically according to the content. So I am figuring out how to do that. And third task is to make it responsive. Currently it is not at all responsive. Um, so I will be happy to uh, hear out any feedback about how we can like how we can put this carousel in the mobile view. Uh, what I am thinking is um, we can fall back to this carousel in the mobile view, or we can what we can do is the deck of cards can be shifted like below this heading. So yeah, that is it for this PR now for now.
Thoughts?
Uh, yeah. I guess when he was talking about mobile view, I have worked on the such cards. And in mobile view, what I did was I like we can drag the first one and push it back. Like uh, I'm not able to explain, but I can talk with him about this.
Yeah, Shravani, you could write your suggestion in website channel. Cool. Anything for Avi?
Yeah, I guess any feedback you can also share it on Slack if not in this on this call.
Yeah, I've got a little feedback, if you don't mind. By the way, everybody on the call is welcome to offer up opinions. Maybe they are really excellent opinions. Maybe they're terrible opinions, but they can only get better if you give it, you can get feedback on your opinions as well. Anyway, so Avi, one of the things, yeah, a couple of things to think through is it could potentially get a little, well, what's the right word? I don't know, delicate or tedious, or for folks, the site visitors, to try to interact with that deck of cards. So to the extent that they go to click on an individual card, they, in a good way right now, they can pick and choose what layer or which individual card they want to see. In a bad way, it's they need to have skinny fingers to do it if they were on a mobile, or they have to be precise with their mouse to like pick out a specific one. It might be that while and I think you know where I'm going. It might be that you'd sort of auto rotate through the deck of cards such that there would just be a single place to click, and that you'd pop one off the top or off the bottom or whatever looks coolest, but the user wouldn't have a choice but to just rotate through them. And maybe the trade-off there between control over what they want to see versus ease by which they can just click and have something come out. It's food for thought. A different thought was that these inanimate cards, these same ones are used on the main page of the site. I don't know how many of you know this, but if you go to this particular site, if you refresh it a time or two, or if you're browsing the site and come back to the homepage, there are about 4 banners or 4 heroes that it will cycle through. And so those cards are used on one of them. There was a little bit of a different thought as to how this carousel might work. And actually, I didn't originally necessarily consider that it would be a carousel, but if you imagine, if you can see my mouse, if you were to imagine a nail or a pin stuck through the bottom right about here, maybe right about here, that when someone wanted to interact with this, that it would fold down, it would swivel out and back. I'm not saying you have to go start over on the animation, but just food for thought if there is any particular issue with things coming in and out. So it's one way that you can kind of get a sense of what that feels like if that were to be implemented is, well, there's a careers page. There's a couple of pages on careers, but one of them is here. This is not the best animation, but it gives you a sense of, it kind of swivels, not exactly, but just one different use of the cards, just in case you hadn't seen it. So nice. It's either way, it's looking like a great animation. I mean, something that's going to get used pretty well.
Yeah, it's a great feedback. Yeah, actually, I didn't thought of in this way, in which you made me think. Like, uh, yeah, the thing you are saying that in mobile view it will be too delicate to click on each card, and also the rolling thing you said that after clicking one card, the next card should pop up. That is a nice feature, I guess, but yeah, it will be a little complex to implement. But yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Or yeah, right. Or not, or not too complex. Like if it's just a simple system that numbers the cards and it just goes through. Like one other thing that you might consider is that if someone goes to interact with the deck and they're interested in seeing the contents of, the details of what's in there, well, I think the current animation, they click to have the card come out and they can view the contents and see what's in there. And when they're ready to move on, they can click again to like put the card back. Do they then click again to pull a different card out?
Yeah, that's the case for now.
Which is again, like nice that there's a lot of control over it. But on the flip side, it's like, it's maybe one extra click that they don't need it. It's like, hey, look, just show them the next card. The other thing to consider is like, and maybe this is done already, which is if someone's scrolling through the page, you'd be amazed at how many people just keep on scrolling. They don't realize that something is interactive like that. And so you might force their hand and initiate the first, as they're scrolling, you might auto initiate the first card for them or something.
Yeah, that's very valuable feedback. Thank you, D.
Thank you, Avi, for your update. So next up, we have Udit's update on improvement in scroll. So Udit, would like to quickly share your screen?
Yeah, so there are some updates in which I just improved the scroll trigger. So there were a number of problems, like there was some empty space after this, and also this thing was not a center in the bigger devices. So I just fixed this in this PR. But there are some other problem which I couldn't find a solution. Like when you go to the mobile version, the experience is not as smooth as in a desktop, just because that if a user scrolls on this container, this might keep scrolling and this does not go up like in a desktop. So I couldn't find any solution for this, and I just looked up into other websites like browser company. They also have a similar trigger, but in the mobile version they use a different animation. You can just go click, you have to click here just because that using the fingers it's very difficult to maintain the same animation. So I was thinking if we could probably have a different UI just for the mobile version of this animation, just this part only, like a carousel or something else. Because this scroll thing, I don't think it's possible really to fix it in the mobile, because there are two containers. One is this and second is this. So a user might just scroll this thing and just no and this thing get stuck in the middle. So I'm just looking for if there is any designer who can just think of a different UI for this part. That would be better.
Yeah, I have a question of the element on the screen that receives the scroll event. That is, well, which one is that?
So there are different elements. One is this part which contain all the points. Then there is this main container. So I have just I'll apply the scroll trigger on this whole container. I've pinned this true to true, and using the y% property, which helps to scroll this container when you scroll outside of it. So the problem is that when a user tries to scroll directly on this on mobile version, the inside container keeps scrolling, but the outside remains at the same position, just because there are too many containers. So we would have like a different design so that there is only one scroll container.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to suggest. Both for mobile and desktop, like.
Although desktop works fine, I think, because it's behave as it should. Just that mobile is It's not like really very good experience, I would say.
Yeah. You could detect the user agent instead of focusing on the responsiveness of it. You could detect the user agent and load up a single, present a different page, not necessarily the carousel that you were referring to, but present a different page that just has one scrollable item.
Yeah, we can like monitor the height and the width of the device window and then show a different component based on that.
Yep. And if you were going to do that being responsive, then you'd use media queries to do that.
I think media queries for like making the whole component responsive.
Right.
That would depend on like what is the design if we require. So if we are for it's just for this part only, like we are not creating a different page for mobile, just this part only, like these components. We can I think change these component in mobile just by seeing if what is the width and the height.
Yeah. Well, but okay. So long. Yeah. You're seeing what, except for that width and the height also affects a desktop view in which it's quite small. So if you're using a combination of detecting the user agent and the width and the height, then I see how that works. But if you're ignoring the user agent, then I don't see how you're not rewriting the desktop as well. If all you're doing is relying on width. Yeah. Are you familiar with the user agent?
No user agent, but I think even if let's say you are trying on a desktop and you try to minimize the window, so even at that case, we should have a different UI, not necessarily on based on user agent.
Okay, but doesn't it still retain the same flow?
Same flow as in?
The scroll works on the desktop even in a small width screen, right?
Yeah, it does, but it's not necessarily like if you try it, if you try on a smaller window, sometimes
Yeah.
it does not work smooth, even on like a desktop on a smaller device,
Okay.
a smaller
Yeah.
window
Okay.
size.
Good. I think we're saying the same thing. That's actually why I asked if you were going to be detecting this using media queries, because it seemed to me that like, yeah, either if you're just going to be using media queries, you can ignore the user agent. It's just that you might have to reload most of the elements on the screen if you move from like the 2 or 3 elements that you have today, one for text, one for images, one for the outside. Then if the part of the solution was to consolidate that down to one scrollable element for mobile devices or for smaller screens, then it seemed to me that there was kind of a lot to reload on the page if all you're doing is detecting width.
No, I think you can memorize the width and height part. So if it will change only when it's actually changed, so you don't have to calculate it every time. You can memorize this thing. It's actually used quite a lot in different websites also, calculating width and height, and then changing the UI.
Yep. Okay. I think we're speaking past each other. Good. Great. Sounds like you have it well in hand. So that's great.
Cool. Thanks for your update, Udit. So let's move to items related to docs.meshy.io. So first up on the list, we have Chinu on fixed position of buttons in code snippets.
Yeah, I'm just sharing my screen. I think this should be visible now.
Yep, it is.
So currently in the quick start, if you go to the quick start on the message docs, like this section looks pretty weird. So my PR, this PR fixes that same thing, and yeah, the buttons are now positioned like this as it should be. There is no extra scroll bar here, and the copy button is here. So like this is the PR which fixes the position. So, yeah.
Yeah, it looks clean. It looks
From
clean.
this to this.
The only thing left here is like which is switched to dark mode. It's not visible, but there is another PR opened by me which is fixing the same thing of the dark mode, and it will add the fix the dark mode and it will add the feedback to this copy button. Currently it's no, when you click there's nothing. So yeah, that's
cool. Hey, notice that the copy to clipboard button is maybe a little bit small relative to the yellow, red, and green buttons. People might miss the copy to clipboard.
smaller.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah. If the main thing that someone would do outside of just watching the animation is to copy the text, and that's relatively small compared to the visual annotations, maybe we should consider enlarging the icon or like activating the copy to clipboard functionality on a hover, such that they can click anywhere. But maybe when they roll over the element, maybe it would activate the button or show them that when they were to click the terminal, it would activate the clipboard.
Okay, you are suggesting that like when the user clicks here, it will be automatically copied or something like that.
Yeah, I'm suggesting to consider yes, and without giving you a directive, rather just suggesting that, hey, they might miss that button. It looks nice. They might miss it. It's kind of small relative to the unimportant things of like the red, yellow, and green. It's white, so it's easier to overlook. It's easy for your eyes to be drawn to the red, yellow, and green. They're not the important things. It does look nice like that. This is a much better visual improvement. You've inlined the copy button. So there's a couple of different solutions. One of the ones is what you had just said about hovering on the element. When you do, activating and showing visually that if clicked, the copy to clipboard mechanism will be invoked. And so it is one way of doing it.
Okay, that is implement. Okay,
Yeah,
I will try to like.
Yeah, but if there might be other ways to approach it. Or maybe that's not true what I'd said. Maybe everybody notices the copy to clipboard right away. And it's just in my mind.
Yeah, because like on this site, like every position, like, if you go to somewhere like yeah, it's positioned somewhere around like that in the whole docs. So I've tried to make it more consistent that way.
Yeah. It looks great. I mean, yep. So what you don't have on these pages is the three large other icons
that's
distracting
specific to quick start only. It's a Mac style look and there's an animation.
Yeah, Chinu, you have one more item, I guess.
Yeah. Like table of contents. So currently the table of contents in the docs, as you can see, it's not auto generated like every page you go. So I have fixed that bug, and like if you go to any page, to any page, like it's now being auto generated, and when you click on like some item, it will give a scroll animation to that. Previously when it was there was no any scroll animation. It was like bam, like when your user clicks, it's like just come out of somewhere. Now it's scrolls. So this is the second PR.
Yep, looks good. Anything else from you, Chinu?
Not, let's check. No.
Cool. Thank you for your update, Chinu. So moving to next item, that's by Vikas. So do we have Vikas on the call? Yep.
Yeah, sure. Yes, can I share my screen now?
Sure.
Is the screen visible?
Yeah, we can see you.
Yeah, the main issue I was working on is in the docs page, the search bar is unresponsive. As you can see, this search bar is unresponsive because I have created a PR for this issue. Uh, this issue has occurred mainly because of a missing form tags and a couple of styles were not applied to that form. And we can look at the preview of this issue. It looks like this one. And I have written a small JavaScript thing to fulfill this uh, query to this search bar. And I would welcome your suggestions if there are any suggestions on this.
Yeah, this looks good. We could add a hotkey on to activate the search, and then
Can you pardon, Gaurav?
yeah, like I mean, we can add a keyboard shortcut to activate the search, and then we can type and click enter and search.
Yeah, sure, we can do it. And one more thing I wanted to mention is in this docs, we have an CSS file that is not included in any of the headers. Main.css. I think does it affect in production? Like this main.css, this is not included in any of the header files.
It might. So that's a question. So you can raise about this thing in website channel.
Okay, fine.
Cool. So any feedback or anything for Vikas?
Vic, is something to consider, and I think this is a current issue as well, is that there are two search fields on the page at the moment.
Yeah. I think Lee, I think is there any alternatives that I can do for this issue?
Yep. Say it again. Is there any what that you can do?
I think we can use this search instead of we can remove this search field, I guess. Whenever a search is made, just let's go.
Yeah, it's a good. Yeah, I don't know that I have a good suggestion. I just brought up the problem.
Yes, I think we can remove this and let this key populate here itself. How is this?
Seems like, yeah, that's as good of a suggestion as I can think of as well, because it's where the user would have started when they did their original search. It's where they might expect to continue to see their search term. What might be slightly confusing is if that search this site, that original search field, if it does not contain their search term, that might be not quite what they were expecting. It might be nice if we were able to retain the search term, which we can get from the query string.
So are you telling that I should populate that query here itself, right? Am I getting it right?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, not telling. But yes, yeah.
Okay. So
cool. This is great. Oh, by the way, yeah. Hey, great demo. Great first showing on the call. Thanks for fixing this. The search page has long had a few different issues. One of the issues that it had, and actually, if you were to hover on any of the hyperlinks, do you see? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What do you see?
I don't get you.
Oh yeah. As you hover on the hyperlink, there's a nice anchor icon that's shown, so that people can.
This thing, it's overlapping that bullet point, right?
Yeah.
I think I can work on that also.
Oh man, you might. Yeah, you might. You might.
And one more issue is that Deepak told me that when we can also do when we search for an English keyword. I think Spanish sometimes Spanish results also show up, so we can check out the what language the browser is using, and we can show results only English. This is also we can create an uh, issue like this also.
Yeah, I just got done removing all the Spanish translated pages. We'd had a collection of a number of folks that were working on that previously. They've since kind of fallen. That effort has fallen to the wayside. So those pages have been archived. So you shouldn't see Spanish pages coming back anymore. If you do, yeah, please note that we should probably archive them. Even if you were, we probably wouldn't want to use the user's browser language setting. We would have an explicit setting where they would be choosing what language they want to use while navigating the site.
Yeah, it's not showing up now. Yeah, it's not showing up.
Oh, nice.
Cool. Thanks, Vikas, for your update. So we still have 2 minutes and 2 topics to discuss. So first up, we have Colby. Colby would like to share your update.
Yeah. I think this is it. Okay. So the goal here was to put a submission, how to submit patterns to the pattern catalog. And so what I had done was sort of highlighting the MeshMap catalog and then, giving an option between to view or to add. If you click view, it brings you to the catalog page. And if you click add, it brings you to sort of a landing page to where you have some options. Would you like to design, and that's, you get to choose between Meshery or the playground for designing the service mesh. And then to submit the design, if you're interested in submitting, you would click this. These 2 links, this directs to the forum, and this one directs. Actually, I want to say that this link is broken. Yeah. So that could be fixed. But since the last update, I built this page, and I would like to do some more CSS work to sort of flesh these out, make them a little bigger. But it gives you the option to go to the getting started section and Meshery Playground. So that's those, and then I've also changed the verbiage here on the how to go about submitting a design, and this is actually a video that I made describing the process of submitting a design in Meshery specifically, and that's about as far as I've gotten. So any feedback, if anyone has any, I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, looks good to me. So yeah, you will be making the final CSS changes to that. Cool.
That's the idea.
Nice. There's a couple of things that are they're nice about this, Colby, and things to like probably strongly consider, which is strongly for us collectively to strongly consider incorporating into the site. And one of those is the drop down on the catalog menu to let people know that, that they can peruse the catalog and also add to it, that like that's a choice that they readily have handy. One of the last pages that you were showing is probably quite critical. It's at the crux of, I think, the original issue, which is like, hey, how do I do that? What are the instructions to do that? And so the instructions that are out there right now talk about editing a local YAML file, I think. And that mechanism has since gone to the wayside. So your video and your instructions are, probably pretty critical.
I think they're fairly clear. I mean, between the video and the verbiage, I think that it can be done without too much of a problem at all.
Yeah, that's
but
nice.
Definitely give me feedback if you see anything particular, and I can edit it.
Cool. So I'll share my screen. So we are 3 minutes over, but we still have just one item to discuss. So we missed Anoushka on last 2 calls. So Anoushka would like to quickly give your update on this one.
Hello everyone. So it has happened that since I rebased my code in order to make signed commits, and the code has a large number of changes, so my commits, the rebase is not happening, and my commits are not signed when I make the new PR again, because the last one had a lot of merge conflicts.
Oh yeah. So you are consolidating all the files. Which files specifically?
Basically, I'm consolidating all the images under an assets folder. Earlier, those images were as a separate folder in the root of the repository, and now they are included in the assets folder.
Cool. Yeah, this looks good to me. Let's get it reviewed and processed with a merge. And for the issue with the DCO, I'll comment on the PR how you can resolve it.
Okay, thank you. I rebased it actually, and it is showing me almost 72 commits have happened so far since the time I did this, and there are a lot of conflicts to solve. So
okay, yeah, let's get you resolve on that.
okay, thank you.
Cool. With that, we are 4 minutes over on the call. So thank you all for joining today's websites call. We'll meet you next week, same time, same place. Thank you all for joining. Bye.
Thank you, Gaurav. Yeah, nice to see you all.